Hi guys.
Hi friends.
How's it going?
Good.
How you doing?
We thought we would do a video today for you guys about what it was like to be 300 plus pounds and what made us change. We get a lot of questions about that, so we thought we would share that with you.
Yeah. If we have one word to say what it was like, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It sucked. Like, not one day went by, like before I met Nicole, that I didn't want to change. And after we met, we were miserable together for the first couple of years. Every moment you're obsessed and you're depressed and you're, feeling guilty for letting yourself go, and your emotions are all over the map. And that's just the emotional side. The physical side we can talk about too, of what it was like to be that big.
It was, well, first of all, we struggled. Kyle struggled younger than I did with his weight, but I struggled in my head thinking that I was fat even when I wasn't, from the age of 5 on. And Kyle struggled with his weight his entire life, and basically I did too. But when we started dating is when we really started putting on more and more weight. And
that's when it physically affected us. When we were in our early 20s, and that's when the physical side effects really came in. I mean, when you're a kid, in your family and stuff and friends, you hear oh yeah, you're chubby and the big guy and that kind of stuff. But then the first time you go to school and you get called fat, it's like, whoa, the rest of the world also sees that I'm chubby, So, but all those, the emotional eating and all that stuff started as a child, but the physical effects, like we were saying, came hardcore in our early 20s.
Yeah.
I developed diabetes. That was like a hit to the face, out of left field, unexpected. And our physical bodies, our sleep was affected, our relationship was affected. I would wake up in the middle of the night with heartburn so bad that I would start choking and coughing, and I would stop breathing. Nicole developed sleep apnea.
So basically we both didn't sleep at night because we were worried that the other one would stop breathing. So I was always listening for him choking on basically his own acid coming up in his throat, and he was listening for me to stop breathing because of my sleep apnea.
I was also going to the bathroom all night because of the diabetes. I would get infections on cuts. If I had a small cut, it would take so long to heal.
Sometimes, they wouldn't heal.
Yeah, and it was just terrible.
I could barely walk from, 5 feet because I had developed plantar fasciitis. I think I'm saying that right. And my heels were in so much pain that literally every 5 or 6 steps I would have to stop and sit down because it was so painful. We could barely walk up the stairs. We have stairs to get to our bathroom, and I would be so out of breath just walking up those stairs that sometimes I would, try to hold off going to the bathroom to pee because I didn't want to have to battle those stairs. It was like you're trapped in your own body and you couldn't breathe and you were suffocating all the time.
We used to get mad at each other if we parked too far away from the store or the mall entrance or something, because we had about 2 minutes before our legs and bodies started aching when we would walk. So we had to plan, we would avoid doing things, going to amusement parks, zoos and malls and stuff. We had to avoid that stuff because we would blame other people for being fast walkers. We were just too big. We were too big.
Yes, we would go to places. I remember the last place we went was the zoo, and we were so far behind from the people that we went with. We were saying to each other, something must be wrong with them that they're walking so fast, not us.
No.
We could barely make it through the zoo. I have no idea how we made it through the zoo.
Those are the stages of denial that you kind of your brain tricks you into getting in. in order to keep the sickness and the weight on, you have to come up with stories about why the world has problems and you don't.
Yeah.
And why everybody else is mean. And you know what I mean? You kind of make up all this stuff because you're not ready to deal with it. You're not ready to acknowledge what reality is. And reality was we put ourselves in dangerous, life-threatening physical spots. And those are really... The emotional stuff was terrible, but the physical stuff scared the crap out of us. And in the end, that's really what made us change. Like the diabetes, the not being able to sleep because of, acid reflux and can't walk and worried about having heart problems. And you go up a flight of stairs and your chest starts to like seize up. And I would sweat tying my shoes and putting on socks and that.
Oh yeah, the sweating. We were always so hot.
And so, those were kind of, it was like not just one thing, but it was everything that built up that kind of basically, scared us into changing, into finally saying, okay, we've tried fad diets, we've tried everything. We need to get serious about helping each other actually do something that's going to work for the rest of our lives. No more yo-yos and
I think we knew, we never said it, but I think we knew that if we didn't stop on the path that we were going, one of us was going to bury the other one because we were killing ourselves with food.
And the thing that really, really helped, we finally had a support system of somebody that got it, somebody that has been there, has been overweight and got it with each other, where if you're going through this alone, a lot of times your friends and family, they've never had weight problems. They've never had, they can say, oh, just eat less. And you look at them like, are you crazy? Like if it was about the food and eating less, I would have done that a long time ago. It's not that easy.
A lot of people would tell us, including, my mother told me all the time, well, you just need to eat less. Why don't you just stop eating?
I had doctors tell me that exact same thing. Have you ever tried eating less?
Yes, sir, we have.
Yes, I've tried that probably 100 times every single day since I was 5.
There is not a whole lot of awareness, I don't think, in this world, because a lot of people look at people who are heavy and obese and say, they just eat too much. But what people don't understand is the majority of people that are obese, overweight, heavy, whatever you want to call them, they have emotional eating issues. And nobody wants to deal with it.
That's the hard stuff. That's why people avoid it, is because that's the deep stuff. That's the hard stuff. And I went, one of the final steps was I went to the doctors. I got the blood test. You have type 2 diabetes. Now, I had been doing research because I had already figured out my symptoms that's what I had. So I was, looking it up, and they said, if you can get your weight down and you can control your sugars and you exercise, you can control this without the medication. The first thing a doctor wants to do is throw meds at you. If you have that's the same for everything. I have back problems too because of weight, and me and Nicole have knee problems and ankle problems because we carried so much weight for so long. Yeah. But the first thing the doctors want it to do, and for us, is throw pills at us, medication all the time, medicate everything. And the type of personality that I have and Nicole has, we said no. And I said, no, you know what, I can do this on my own, and I'm going to control my diabetes on my own. I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to exercise regularly, and it gave me the boost I needed. It gave me the wake up call that I needed to really change my life and the way I was doing things.
Yeah, and I think that the medical stuff and the physical stuff, because it was physical, it was even though it was still hard, it was the easiest thing to start with, was to get our health on track and then start dealing with the emotional stuff. Because when you can't breathe and you're in danger of dying at any moment from being so heavy and putting all that stress on your heart, you really can't deal with the emotional stuff, because it takes a very long time, and it is very, very hard to do.
We had to deal with the life-saving measures first. So get those out of the way first, and then we dug deep into the emotional stuff.
Yes. But you first got to get your health on track, And so we decided, like Kyle said, no yo-yo diets. We did not get a trainer. We didn't get a nutritionist. We didn't go on any program. We went online and got Canada's Food Guide, and we followed that. We didn't really do much changing of getting rid of our favorite foods or anything like that. We just did portion control.
Portion control.
And we walked.
In the beginning, like, portion control saved our lives, but that was only the beginning of our journey, because portion control got a bulk of weight off of us, but it didn't deal with up here. So that was actually the hard work over the last, we still deal with emotional eating. We just have learned to manage it and harness it better now.
Yes.
But in the beginning, the life-saving measure was portion control and walking as much as we could.
Yeah. And the first, I would say, few months, we would say to each other, like, we would get out the door, we would get down the street, and one of us would say, I have to stop. So we would stop.
I remember,
and,
10 minutes from our house, I was stopping for pain in my legs to catch my breath, but we kept pushing, and because it was so bad and we didn't want to go back to where we used to be, we kept pushing, and we kept making promises to each other that we wouldn't let each other quit this time. We wouldn't let each other go backwards. No, and in the beginning, a 15-minute walk for us would take half an hour, 45 minutes, because we had to stop so much. But eventually, the more, we never gave up. The more we pushed, eventually a 15-minute walk took 15 minutes. And then now, what used to take us 15 minutes takes us 10 minutes, and sometimes 8 minutes, because we can do it so fast. Yeah, and that's basically why we wanted to make this video, is for the people out there that got to the point where we got, where you're so sick and tired of everything. And you're scared. You're scared, and you literally are sick. You're literally tired. You're literally killing yourself. That's the point where we were at. And if you're ready and you're there where we were, you will change. Yeah. And when you're not ready, you're not going to change. We did so much harm to our bodies and to our minds over the years. We just weren't ready. When we got to that point, everything changed. We might not have been able to do much that first day. When we were ready, we were ready. And you guys, when you get to that point, you'll just know it. You'll know it, and you'll be ready to change, and it'll be done. Your life will be changed in an instant. It will be a long road ahead, but once your mind changes over that you're going to do this, you'll do it. And the thing about emotional eating is, in my opinion and from our experience, I don't believe it ever goes away. Just like what Kyle said, you just learn how to handle it better. Yeah. You learn how to call yourself on it and how to get through it. And, now in situations where I normally would have eaten emotionally, I say, hey, you had a bad day. Do you want a cookie today? And every single time, it's no. Because I don't need that food anymore. I don't use food to heal my body. I still get those thoughts, questioning sometimes, but I never need to act on it anymore, because we've figured out what works. We've dealt with all that stuff. And we needed to find out what made us happy in life, and we need to talk it out with each other. And if you don't have anybody, talk it out with us. Find an online support group. Comment in the comment section. You are not alone. Find people that are positive, non-toxic people that want to figure out how to get things done instead of telling you everything that's wrong with you. Yes. Find people that are positive, and you'll be on your way. There are tons of online support groups. If you just Google them, you'll see there are tons. I joined a few when we were first starting to heal, and they really helped. So that's what it was like for us, to be really heavy, and unfortunately we had to wait until the medical and health issues were so bad for us to change. We're stubborn. We are very stubborn. But that stubbornness, we're using it now to push forward in a healthy way. We're harnessing the stubbornness and using it for good now instead of bad. And so the point of this video was,
It doesn't matter where you are. You can be at the bottom of the barrel. You can pull yourself up.
Yep.
We were underneath the barrel. We were so low, and we were able to pull ourselves out. And yes, we have support, but we still have to do it for ourselves. And you can do it.
Yep, you can do it.
No matter how low you are, there's always a light, guys, at the end of the tunnel. So please feel free anytime to leave comments below or ask questions. Remember, you are important, because if you don't know that, then you can't help yourself.
You're worth it. Make yourself a priority and make your eating and your exercise number one, because if you don't have your health, we learned, you have nothing.
Yep. So we did it, guys, and you can do it too.
Yep.
Don't forget, check us out on Instagram. And if you forget to like and subscribe, oh, you're in trouble this time, because watch this. This one, boom.
Boom.